Welcome back to Not So Grand Garage. Tonight I'm out in the shop and we're going to do a little work to this 2008 Harley Davidson Dyno Wide Glide. It's a really nice bike for its year. Fairly low mileage, but just needs to be serviced. We're going to check a few things over on it, check brakes, some other piddly things. And he's having some issues with it stalling at random. When you'll come up to a stoplight, it'll idle down, idle too low, and it won't catch itself, so it'll stall. I fixed this problem a while back by cleaning the idle air control on it, but it's come back. This time we're just going to go on and replace the idle air control on it, hopefully get them fixed permanently. So let's get at it. First up, now that we got this engine good and warm, your oil drain plug is down here. It should be a 5/8 socket, so we'll slide a little cut bucket underneath here. Should fit real nice. I'm going to break that loose and drain it. Oil filter is up front. Before you pull the drain plug, go on and loosen up the oil fill. That will let the oil drain quite a bit faster, which we're just about done here. Then we'll go on and pull the filter off. Be sure to check the magnet on your drain plug. Clean it up real good. Replace the O-ring on it as well, so you don't get a leak. But once this is done draining, we'll put the drain plug back in. This doesn't take much torque, just this was barely over hand tight, so just snug them down. Don't bear down on it, you'll strip threads out. But yeah, then we got to go up here and work around these controls to get the oil filter off. Placement of the filter is a bit of a pain. It's kind of hard to keep the oil and stuff off the motor. Best thing to do is you can take aluminum foil, you can take thin cardboard, thin piece of plastic, something like that, wrap it up around the filter, which I'll show you what I'm going to do there. They also make filter funnels specifically for the Harleys that fit up in there decent and will keep you from making a mess. Either way, you're probably going to get a little oil somewhere, so just be ready for it. But yeah, I'll show you what I'm going to do. Got our drain plug back in there and tight. I will go on and torque it to spec. Torque spec on the Harley drain plugs, 14 to 21 foot-pounds, which I'll go on and take it to 18 or basically 216 inch-pounds. But yeah, torque it to spec, that way you don't have to worry about cracking the case, ripping threads out of the case, anything like that. Or if you don't have a torque wrench, just snug it down. It's not super tight. So anyways. So I cut up a manila folder and stuffed it up in here. Any piece of thin cardboard, thin plastic, stuff like this will work and won't scratch anything up. It's not going to be perfect. You will still get a little oil dribblage down here on the frame, stuff like that. Can't really be helped. So just be ready to be cleaning it up after the fact. But yeah, we'll do the best we can. Also, with the forward controls, you will need to drop the linkage out of the way to get the filter off, because there is not enough room to get it off without. You also need it out of the way to put the new filter back on. So, I'm going to get this out of here. And as you can see, we still got a little bit of an oil mess, but it's not as bad as it would have been. But yeah, got a K&N filter to spin back on it. We will pre-lube the O-ring like always. You can put a little bit of oil in the filter, not much. With them mounted horizontal, most of the time I won't add any to them. because yeah, doesn't do much good. It'll end up running back out. We're ready to fill this thing back up. Careful around this exhaust, especially if you've let it run. Now, Harley spec is 2.5 quarts. That's what we're going to put in it. We'll be using Valvoline Full Synthetic 2050 motorcycle oil. But we'll put the 2.5 quarts in it, and we'll fire it up, let it build oil pressure, check it for leaks, shut it down, and check it and top it off as needed. It should be pretty well right on, but yeah. Now to check the oil on these, the dynos, you do not need the bike vertical. You're supposed to check it on the stand. It actually notes that on the drain plug, or on the dipstick here. If I can get it to focus, which I probably can't. Let's see here. Anyways, check it on the stand. Do not check it vertical. If you check it vertical, it's going to throw your levels off. But we're 2.5 quarts in. We haven't started the bike yet, so put the fill in, throw it all the way down, back out, and being as we haven't started it yet, we should be showing a little over full, which we are. We'll go on and fire the bike up. Let it idle for just a minute and see if we got any leaks or anything like that. We'll shut it down, let it cool off for just a little bit, and see where the oil's at. After letting it sit for just a little bit, we'll go on and check the oil again. And we are spot on full at 2.5 quarts. Doing a basic service on your bike, basic oil change, air filter, stuff like that, it's simple. You shouldn't be having to take it to the dealer or what have you just to get it serviced. Now, if it's something as far as maintaining a warranty, things like that, by all means, take it to the dealer. But yeah, you can do this job in 15-20 minutes with some hand tools. It's no big deal, and it doesn't have to be expensive. But anyways, we're good on oil, so now we're going to go on and tackle this idle air control. The owner of this bike went on and picked one up for us from Drag Specialties. So yeah, I'll put the part number and stuff like that, a link to it in the video description. Same with the filter and the oil that he bought and we're using in this. But I'm going to go on and pull this apart. Basically, the service manual says you need to pull the entire induction assembly off, which is the throttle bodies, injectors, all that stuff. We're not going to do that. I'm going to pull the seat back. We're going to elevate the tank, and should get me access into the 2 bolts that hold the idle air control in position. That will save a substantial amount of time and extra gaskets, O-rings, stuff like that you won't have to replace because you're not taking everything apart. So yeah, let's see if we can tackle that. Now to pull the seat on the dyno, there's 1 bolt back here. Pull this bolt out, the seat will pivot up and come back, and then we will have access to the rear tank mounts. So yeah, let's get this pulled off here. He's got this little carrying bag on here that shouldn't interfere with anything. I'm pretty sure it just straps to the seat itself. So yeah, be careful when you take this bolt out. Don't let the seat swing around or anything. You'll end up scratching your paint up back here. With the seat out of the way, you'll remove this bolt which will allow the tank to pivot up a little bit. We'll slide a block or head of a rubber mallet, something like that, underneath the bottom of the tank to hold it up. That should give us enough room to get to the back side of the throttle body. Now, I've got the rear tank mount out. I lifted the tank up and I balled some rags up, slid them underneath the back side of the tank so we don't scratch or damage anything. And as you're lifting the tank, just pay attention to up here. Make sure you're not getting into the bars or anything. You don't want to damage the chrome, damage the paint on the tank. But yeah, now we've got a little bit of room to work here. So this here is the idle air control. We've got one electrical connection. Be careful when you're unhooking it. Just wiggle it back a little bit. So that is unhooked. And two T20 Torx screws. You can see one is on the inside. That one's going to be the pain. This one right here shouldn't be too bad. First, I'm going to try this little setup I've got going on. It's a 1/4 inch line wrench and a little T20 bit. And I think with a little bit of patience, I can get it up in here and get that loose. One out. I went on and pulled the intake cover and air filter out of the way just to kind of give me a little bit more space here and less risk of dinging this. And if you notice, here is the torque mount, or for the motor mount here. I have taken the bolt and spacer out and slid it out of the way. And what that allows is our 1/4 inch ratchet with a T20 1/4 socket to fit right back in here and give us plenty of room to take this out. Just be careful not to hit the tank so you don't scratch it. And there we are. Hold O-ring. And there we go. New one's put in. Now, all I gotta do is hook this motor mount back up. Just slide it over, get the bolt in place, hook this wire connection back up, drop the tank back down, slide the bolt in, seat back on, air cleaner back on, and we'll wrap it up. So we got our tank bolted back up, got everything done down here. All I got left to do is mount the seat. And then there is a relearn procedure, which I will show you tomorrow, because it is late and I'm not gonna fire this thing up because the kids are already in bed. So we'll see you in the morning. Well, we're back out here this morning. We've got everything buttoned up, seat back on it, and now we're going to set or calibrate the idle air control. So we're going to click the ignition on and wait. And off. Well, that's going to wrap this one up. We don't have any leaks. Bike's idling good. I do not ride customers' bikes. I don't work on bikes very often. I do have a motorcycle license, everything else. I used to have several and sold my last one not too long ago. But yeah, it's just something I won't do. So I'm going to call the owner and let him know he can come get it. We'll take it for a quick test ride while he's here, and then we'll make sure everything's good as far as that goes. One thing to note, anytime you're messing with the throttle body or you're moving the tanks and stuff around, be sure to check the throttle cables once you're done. Make sure everything moves freely, nothing's binding up, because you can pinch one of those cables pretty easily if you're not careful. But anyways, I'll give him a call, let him know it's done, and hopefully that fixes his problem. It was kind of sporadic. He could ride all day, and sometimes it would be absolutely fine. Other times, anytime he'd come up to a stop, it would just stall, no spitting and sputter, and the RPM would just drop too low for the engine to recover. But I think we've got him sorted out. But yeah, with that said, I'm gonna wrap this up. If you want to support the channel, there is a PayPal account set up for that. The link to that's in the description of the video. We've got SuperThanks enabled as well. If you would, hit that like button. It really helps us out, and it doesn't cost you anything. If you haven't already, please subscribe. We appreciate you watching.